Hello, my students. Hope you're not tired yet of my stories because I have another one for you. This one, well, the last story I told about fog, about how fog comes onto the city and over the harbor on little cat's feet. And I told you that when I was out there, way out there, I got totally lost in the fog and how, who knows how I ran into this huge ship. And I said the chances were like 1 in 14 billion chances of running into something. And I said it's very similar to the chances of running into somebody you know on the Moscow Metro because like more than 10 million people use the Moscow Metro daily. And 10 years in Moscow, I'm always down there and I never see anybody that I know. It's never happened. But it did happen one time. It only happened once and that's it. And after that one time, it never happened again. And when it did happen, well, the reason why I said I never actually met somebody down in the metro, in the Moscow Metro, was because I was never actually down there. I was on top and somebody was coming up, and that's where we met. And it was the weirdest thing, the strangest thing ever, the weirdest meeting in the world. And anyway, all of my stories are about these really weird meetings, so here's another one. I was at Ploshchad Ilyicha. I don't even know why I was there. I don't like Lenin. I like Bulat Akujava. Lenin, no. So what was I doing at Ploshchad Ilyicha? I don't know. Potaryal Dorogi. I totally lost my way. So I was there and I needed to buy a ticket to use for the metro and the line was really long. So I was like, oh, okay, I'm just waiting in line, sitting there, nothing to do, scratching my head. And all of a sudden I look to the left and I see this person walking the wrong way up the escalator. I'm like, who's this idiot? He's totally walking up like he's running. I was like, no, you're on the wrong way. And what totally impresses me about Russia is the order and the discipline of the people. So when you go like down the metro, everyone's standing to the right and people are like going down on the left and there's tremendous discipline. And I'd say to myself, oh man, try something like this back home. Or it's like, no way, people would totally screw it up. Everybody abiding by the rules, man, it's amazing here. But this dude was running the wrong way, going up. I was like, who is this? Then I looked at him, I was, oh my gosh, I know this guy, that's Sergei. He's this like very famous philosopher from MGU. At least he has a doctorate degree from MGU. He's a philosophy professor. No wonder he's running up the wrong way. These philosophy professors are the most confused people in the world. They're totally stuck in what's called mental speculation. They go round and round and round and round, and where's the conclusion? They never come to a conclusion. That's why we call them mental speculators. They speculate. They don't even know how to make toast. I tried to teach him how to make peanut butter and jelly, and he put this peanut butter all over my forehead. I was like, oh, of course, you're a philosophy professor. You guys are like a special type of people. So there he was coming up the escalator. I was like, what is he doing? This is the first time ever I saw somebody on the Moscow Metro that I knew. And so I was in line. I didn't say anything because I didn't want to be kind of embarrassed, like the person who knew this guy who's going up the wrong way. So I just kind of stood there like a carrot. And he doesn't even see me, but he's walking right towards me. I'm like, oh man, is this mutual arising all over again? It's going to happen. And yeah, he keeps coming towards me. He keeps coming towards me. Finally, he runs into me. And I look up like, Sergei, what are you doing? He's like, oh, Evan! Oh, what are you doing here? I was like, I don't know. I'm in Ploshchad Ilyicha. I should be in Kurskaya. What am I doing here? I don't know. I need to get out of here. He's like, oh, Evan. Oh, no. I need to talk to you. I've been looking for you. I need to talk to you. I was like, what are you talking about? Anyway, I had just married my wife, and we were looking for a place to honeymoon, but we couldn't really come to the conclusion as to where to go. I didn't want to go to Egypt. I didn't want to go to Turkey. I wanted to go someplace like I'd never been before. So Sergei, he was leaving the metro, but as soon as he bumped into me, he's like, no, I'm going to go where you're going. I was like, oh, great. Guys like this bring you bad luck. When you're with these guys, oh my God, big blocks of ice fall on your head. Birds do their thing, it hits you. Cars come and bad things happen to you when you're with people like this. So I was like, oh, Sergei's going to come with me down to the metro. Oh man, watch, the metro is going to get stuck and we're going to be down there for hours in the dark. So I was like, okay, Sergei. So he's coming with me and we're going down the escalator. I see, Sergei, when the escalator goes down, that means you go down too, not up. He's like, oh yeah, interesting. So I'm going down with him and he's talking to me about India. He's like, oh, you have to go to India because it's the most incredible country in the world. It's the most mystical place, the most incredible people ever. You have to go to India. He kept drilling it into me. We got on the metro and he keeps going again and again and again. He's like, oh, congratulations. Yes, you just got married. Oh, well, you have to go to India. And he started telling me these stories about India. Anyway, I don't know, but when madmen start talking to me, and they really start talking to me, for some reason I end up kind of like believing what they say. Because, I don't know, to me, the greatest men in the world were just kind of a little bit mad, a little bit crazy. And I only trust people who are a little bit goofy, spontaneous, and crazy, because these are the people that actually change the world. Not people that are like, oh no, we must be serious. Can you make a serious face for like 2 seconds? What movie? 500 Points? Clifford, 1994. Anyway, we're in the metro. I'm kind of praying like, please don't break down metro. I'm with Sergey. And Sergey is telling me about the Himalayas and that there's this big exhibition and that we're going to put down this big pamyatnik, a pamyatnik, what is it? A memorial for Rerich. And Nikolai Rerich, I don't know if I'm pronouncing the name properly, Rerich, was this very famous artist. He was a genius. He wrote books, and he was the best artist when it came to painting the Himalayan landscapes. And he says there's this big exhibition or this big trip we're all going to take, and there's going to be a lot of MGU and some other philosophers and college professors from Moscow, and we're all going to the Himalayas, and we're going to this very special place, and we want you to come with us. So I started thinking, oh man, this might be really cool. I don't know, let me think about it. So what did I do? I took the metro to Okhotny Ryad, and I got out and I started walking around, and I walked towards Jesus Christos Spasito, the big church, and I looked across the church. I was like, oh man, there's the Rerich Museum. I'm gonna go check it out. I went and I checked it out, and I started looking at these paintings of the Himalayas. I was like, oh man, these paintings are unbelievable. I have to go to this place. India to me would be like a revelation, like something coming down and bam, some kind of idea hitting me. And I knew one way or another, India would change my life, because India really does that to people. I'm a Christian, so I don't really go deep into karma, but everybody says when you go to India, immediately your karma will be shown to you. So if you're a good person, many friendly people will come and the Indians will help you. But if you're not really a good person, bad things will happen. Monkeys will come and they will take your chain. People will come and rob you, and you'll have a very terrible experience. It all depends on what you are. So I was like, very interesting. I have to go to India just to try this out. So I said to my wife, we're going to go on a honeymoon. Where are we going? India! She's like, woo! So we bought these tickets. We couldn't get straight flights to India. We had to stop in Turkmenistan. I was like, oh, cool. If we stop in Turkmenistan, we could check out the capital. What was the capital? Ashgabat. Anyway, it had this really cool capital city. And so when we got to Turkmenistan, I tried to get out and I talked to the visa officer. I was like, давайте по-человечески. I was like, let's talk to each other like people. Look, I don't have a visa, but I have to stay in this airport for 14 hours. I don't want to stay in your airport for 14 hours. Please give me 8 hours. And I want to explore your capital city, and then I'll come back, and my wife and I, we're flying to India. He was like, no visa, no city. I was like, what? I'm a human being. I'm not going to disappear in Turkmenistan. Why? I'm not going to take pieces of your... I couldn't understand. I couldn't deal with them. He says, no visa, no Turkmenistan. So I was stuck in this very cold airport for 14 hours. They had a little cafe, but the only thing that they sold was this Stari Vanucci kasha. I was like, ugh! I ate it, and I was like, oh, the flies started coming at me. I was like, oh no! I was stuck there for 14 hours. I didn't know what to do. I was walking back and forth like a madman, like hitting my head against the glass. I was like, let me out! They wouldn't let me out. Finally, this flight came in, and all of these Indians got off of this flight. I was like, these are the guys that are on our flight. Finally, we're going to India. Woo! We finally landed in India, and this was our first day. This guy picked us up at the airport, and he took us to our hotel, and we were driving through Delhi and I saw all these people sleeping on the streets. Everyone's sleeping on the streets. I was like, oh man, everyone's homeless. And the man was like, no, 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 no. Because it's so hot outside, you know, anybody and everybody can sleep on the streets. Even if you're upper middle class, sure, sleep on the streets. And the freaking animals everywhere. Cows running around everywhere. The smell of earth. I was like, wow, this place is far out. I've already taught you guys this word. So, we needed to catch up with the rest of our group, and they were already in the north. They were already in the Himalayas, but we had one day to spend in Delhi. So I was like, yeah, we got to see the sights. We got to go visit the Mahatma Gandhi Museum and all of these places. So the first place we went to was called the Lotus Temple. And it's this great big temple, and the whole purpose of this temple is so that the peoples of the world and the peoples of like world religion can come together as one and worship. So if you're a Muslim, Buddhist, Hindu, if you worship Shiva, Vishnu, Krishna, if you're a Christian, if you're a Jew, if anything, you go to this temple and everybody worships together. What God they pray to, I don't know. So I went to this place. It was very impressive. And we sat in there, and the place was, I would say, 95% Hindu. They were just everywhere Hindus, and there were some Muslims. And so when my wife and I left this place, we got our shoes on, and we started walking through this beautiful park. And this was our first day in India, and so we didn't really know what to expect, and we didn't know the people, all that well. And we had both, my wife was, had lived her entire life in Russia. This was her first time in India. This was my first time in India. And my whole mentality was dealing with Russians in Moscow. But India is like a totally different planet. So we're walking around this beautiful park, and all of a sudden I hear this something behind me. And I look behind me, and there's this big family, like 15 people. And I look back, and they all looked at me. I was like, whoa. I was like, you guys have never seen a person before. What's going on? My wife was like, what's going on? I was like, I don't know. But they're kind of walking kind of close. I was like, let's pick up the pace. I want you to learn that word. Pick up the pace. So we started picking up the pace. Then behind us, they picked up the pace. I was like, oh man. When something like this happens in Miami, you're going to get robbed. These people, there's way more of them than there are of us. So I was like, let's do a little weavy action. Weavy, going in and out. Let's go around this tree. Let's go around that bush. Let's go around that tree over there. So we started doing left, right, snaking through the park. And I looked back, oh, they're doing it too. I was like, oh man, everywhere we go, they go. What is this? I'd never read anything like this in a book before. I didn't know this was like part of their culture. I was like, oh man. I was like, okay, here's what we're going to do. I said to my wife, I will fend them off. I am the man. The man must be brave. The woman is the woman is not to show this type of bravery. The man is to protect the woman. I am your husband now. I will protect you. I said to my wife, you are going to run. You're going to run straight and you're going to run fast. I'm going to turn around and I'm going to confront all of them. My wife said, oh, no, I have to be with you. I was like, no, the husband has spoken, you go. So my wife took off running. It was the funniest thing. She starts running through this park in Delhi, and I turned around and I walked right up to the man. At this point, I wasn't scared anymore. I just said, they must be following me for a reason. I just don't know what it is. So just like when I was out on the kayak and I was a little bit lost, I said again, no, I just have to change my thoughts. These people aren't going to hurt me. They could be the nicest people in the world. So before I even turned around, I had in my mind like, this man, he might be my brother. Maybe he wants to say something nice to me. I don't know. So I turned around, I walked right up, and I saw the head of the family, because everyone was kind of following him. And he was the one that was really following me. So I walked right up to him, big smile on my face, and I put my hand out. And he shook my hand. He had the softest hand. And I was like, hi, sir. I was like, how can I help you? I was like, my name is Evan. I'm from the United States of America. I was like, and what is your name? The man barely understood what I was saying. He barely spoke English. He started speaking to me in Hindi. I was like, man, you might as well be speaking Uzbek. I have no clue what you're saying. I was, do you speak Russian? Do you говоришь по-русски? По-украински? До побачення? Nima? I was like, man, do you speak Spanish? No Spanish. No Ukrainian. This man would never eat salo, ever. No Russian. So I was like, yeah, we're stuck. Linguistically, we're stuck. We're going to have to do the hand game. I was like, he said to me a few words in English. He says, we come from village. I was like, uh-huh. And he's like, I was like, your first time in Delhi? He's like, yeah, our first time in Delhi, ever. And basically he was trying to tell me that I'm the first foreigner he had ever seen. He comes from some faraway village in India. This was the first big trip he had ever taken in his life. And he took this huge family with him. And when they saw me, I guess because I have, kind of white skin, he thought that I was, I don't know, somebody from Saturn. And so they were just following me everywhere. And I said, finally he came to the conclusion, he said, sir, please, he put his hands together. He says, we want photo. I said, you want a photo of me? He said, we want photo with you. I was like, oh man, you kind man, I didn't know. We thought you were trying to kill us. So I called my wife, I said, oh, come back, friendliest people in the world, oh man. So my wife came, then we figured out this family, they don't even have a camera. I was like, oh, but he wants to have a picture with me. I was like, why? I didn't understand. It was only later on that my friend, Sasha the guide, he says, it's good luck for them to have a picture with a foreigner. I was like, man. So we took all of these pictures together and they're all happy. It's like this innocent, childlike, spontaneous smile, just joy pouring out of them, just because we were taking pictures together. So we took all of these pictures together and I was shaking all of their hands and we were all happy together. And the fact that the way that we approached them, we really accepted them. We were very nice to them. That our relationship, even though we were only together in this universe for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, we only spent there about 10 minutes together kind of trying to talk to each other and taking pictures. But the fact was that we related and we made contact, and that made all the difference. And now this man is going to go back to his village and he's going to tell the stories to his friends. And I am here telling you the story. It was the most amazing thing ever that we had that one moment together. And we will never meet again in this world. But we met that one day. And it was that very, very special meeting. And we communicated with each other. Even though he was speaking Hindi and I was speaking Ukrainian. It totally worked. And please, if you go on my Facebook, you will see that picture where I'm standing there and I'm surrounded with this family from India. And the women have these really neat saris on. It was the most amazing thing. And that's why I wanted to tell you the story. I hope you enjoyed it. Please stay tuned for the other stories. And I hope you enjoy these stories that I'm telling. Thanks.